Breaker of this world's chain, we adore thee, whom all men love. Spotless, taking man's form, O purifier, thou art above the gunas three. Knowledge divine, not flesh, thou whom the cosmos wears, a diamond at its heart. Let us look deep in thine eyes. They are bright with the wisdom of God, that can wake us from Maya's spell. Let us hold fast to thy feet, treading the waves of the world to safety. O drunk with love, God drunken lover, in thee all baths of all yogas meet. Lord of the worlds, thou art ours, who wert born a child of our time, easy of access to us. O merciful, if we take any hold upon God in our prayer, it is by thy grace alone, since all thine austerities were practiced for our sake. How great was thy sacrifice, freely choosing thy birth in this prison, our iron age, to unchain us and set us free. Perfect, whom lust could not taint, nor passion nor gold draw near. O Master of all who renounce, fill our hearts full of love for thee. Thou hast finished with fear and with doubt, standing firm in the vision of God, refuge to all who have cast fame, fortune, and friends away. Without question thou shelterest us, and the world's great sea in its wrath seems shrunk to the puddle that fills the hoofprint in the clay. Speech cannot hold thee, nor mind, yet without thee we think not, nor speak. Love, who art partial to none, we are equal before thy sight. Taker away of our pain, we salute thee, though we are blind. Come to the heart's black cave, and illumine, thou light of the light.
Can we have a, I don't know, like a desk lamp? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharmaswarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Good evening, everyone. We're celebrating today the birthday of a great soul, Swami Shivananda Maharaj, one of the great monastic disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. He was born in 1854, so that means he's 9 years older than Swami Vivekananda. And he was spiritual from his very birth. In fact, his birth itself has a divine origin. His parents prayed to Lord Tarakeshwar Shiva for a son, and they performed tapasya, austerities, for a full year. And his mother had a dream in which Shiva actually appeared to her and said, "I am pleased with your devotion. I bless you. You will be the mother of a spiritual son." And when he was born, his parents gave him the name Taraknath, which is a name for Shiva, because it was Tarakeshwar who gave her the boon of a son. And his astrological chart was made. And the astrologer said that he predicted that the child would either become a monk or a king. And then when Tarak became a monk, he took that horoscope and threw it in the Ganges. He, as I said, he was really just very spiritual from the beginning. So he had no interest in marrying at all. But for particular family circumstances, he was kind of compelled to. So he ended up marrying. But interestingly, within 1 year of the marriage, in 1883, his wife passed away. So at a very young age. And he, of course, didn't remarry. And when he first got married, he told Sri Ramakrishna, what do I do? I'm married now. And he knew that Sri Ramakrishna recommended for the most evolved aspirants a purely monastic life. And Sri Ramakrishna assured him that there wouldn't be any problem. And he, in fact, gave him a technique. He said, so let me read you exactly what he said. So Shivanandaji Maharaj says, in those days when we used to visit the master, he started visiting the master in 1880. I frequently had to go home because I was married. It was distasteful to me. Somehow or other, I would spend the night at home, repeating the name of the Lord. I spoke about it to the master and prayed that my worldly bondage be destroyed. After hearing my story, the master asked me to perform a certain ritual and said in a tone of assurance, "Have no fear. I am here to protect you. Think of me and perform this ritual. Nothing adverse will happen to you. I'm telling you that even if you sleep in the same room with your wife, you'll be free from danger. You will see it will rather intensify your spirit of renunciation." What exactly that ritual was is not entirely clear, but it's also said that Sri Ramakrishna touched a part of Shivanandaji's body and said, "Dive deep in the ocean of Satchitananda." And from that moment, lust was completely extinguished from his heart. And then Shivanandaji mentions Sri Ramakrishna prescribed the same ritual for Swami Brahmananda, another married disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. And then Shivanandaji says, I went through the ritual as instructed and didn't have any trouble. In the course of conversation, I once mentioned this incident to Swamiji. He was very much surprised and remarked, "What do you say? It is the characteristic of a Mahapurush. You are certainly one." Since then, he started calling me by this name, and others did the same. So that's why he's known in our tradition as Mahapurush Maharaj, a great soul. Tarak, so the future Swami Shivanandaji, within a couple meetings with Sri Ramakrishna, he knew that he would surrender himself, body, mind, and soul to him. He said, "At once I felt a deep attachment for the master. I felt as if I'd known him a long time. My heart became filled with joy. I saw in him my tender, loving mother waiting for me. So with the confidence, faith, and certitude of a child, I surrendered myself to him, placing myself entirely under his care. From then on, I looked upon the Master as my mother. One thing that was a bit strange to Mahapurush Maharaj is that when he would visit Sri Ramakrishna would ask many other people to do things for him, to bring the water pot with him and so on when he had to answer the call of nature. But he would never ask Tarak for any help with anything. And he was a little bit hurt inside. And then he found out why. Sri Ramakrishna told him, I know your father very well. He is the attorney for Rani Rashmani's estate. The Rani and her family always thought highly of your father. And then he tells a story about how Sri Ramakrishna felt this terrible burning sensation throughout his body. And Shivanandaji's father would come regularly to Dakshineshwar to worship Mother Kali. And Sri Ramakrishna could tell that he would pray to Mother with intense devotion, with tears streaming down his face. And so he asked Shivanandaji's father for advice. Do you have any suggestions as to what I can do? And he told him to wear an amulet with the name of his Ishta Devata and on the arm. And when he wore it, he found miraculously that the heat got diminished and it eventually went away. So after that point, he looked upon Shivanandaji's father as his own guru, as one of his gurus. And that's why he wouldn't let Tarak do any tasks for him. It was a very touching kind of incident. And as we all know, we talk about this a lot, but Sri Ramakrishna was an ordinary guru, so he gave initiation in many different ways. So with Tarak, he wrote a mantram on his tongue. And at that very moment, Tarak went into deep meditation and then lost external consciousness. And then Sri Ramakrishna brought him back to consciousness by rubbing his chest. It's a very long chapter. I'm going to be skipping a lot here. But so, as I said, 1883, his wife passes away very suddenly. And Tarak is filled with vairagya, with detachment, and he tells his father that he's going to renounce the world and become a monk. And his father, because he was a very sincere and evolved spiritual aspirant, and he also greatly revered Sri Ramakrishna, he didn't have any objections. He asked his son to salute the family deity, and then actually blessed his son and said, may you realize God. I myself tried to renounce the world and realize him, but I failed. Therefore, I bless you that you may attain God. And he told Sri Ramakrishna was very pleased, but not surprised. And so for the last 3 years of Sri Ramakrishna's life, Tarak actually more or less lived with Sri Ramakrishna. He had the great blessing of living with him almost day in and day out. He had an impulse to wander, Tarak. And so even during Sri Ramakrishna's lifetime, 1886, after Sri Ramakrishna distributed the ochre cloths, and one of those ochre cloths was given to Shivanandaji, he and a number of his brother disciples had an itch to go to Bodh Gaya, the place where Buddha did his spiritual practices. And so they went in early 1886. And there's a moving incident that happened there. He went with Swami Vivekananda, Narendra. And on the third night that they were there together, meditating together, Swami Vivekananda, Naren, he was overwhelmed with emotion, and he burst into tears. And then he embraced Tarak, who was just meditating next to him. And it's said that Narendra saw Buddha enter into Tarak's body during that incident, which is quite striking. And then when they came back from Bodh Gaya, Sri Ramakrishna looked at all of them and said, waving his thumb. So what is waving his thumb and moving his index finger in a circle, and he's saying, you won't find spirituality anywhere else but here. This time all is here. You may roam about wherever you please, but you will not find anything anywhere. Here all the doors are open. So Sri Ramakrishna, of course, left his body in 1886, August. And they started a monastery in Baranagar, and Tarak was one of the first. Shivanandaji was one of the first monastics to join in Boranagar, along with the elder Gopal, Advaitanandaji. And within a couple of years, he started wandering in many different places, but especially the Himalayas, and there are many wonderful incidents which I can't mention here due to lack of time. And so he would kind of on and off come back to the monastery and then go wandering again and then come back, and then eventually Boranagar, it got shifted to Alambajar and so on. So he would kind of be going back and forth between being a wandering monk in the Himalayas and other places and then joining his brother disciples in the monastery in Bengal. He went to Uttakashi for a number of months, 4 months as well. And he said about his wandering days, "This body did a lot of mountain climbing, visited many places, and practiced much austerity. There were times when I did not have more than one piece of cloth with me. Many nights I slept under a tree. I had a feeling of great dispassion and never thought about physical comfort, finding joy in austerity alone. I wandered a great deal, carrying no possessions, but was never in any trouble. The master stayed by me and protected me from all dangers and difficulties, and I never went hungry." And later, when younger monks came to him and asked for his blessings to go wandering, he would always encourage them and say that it's a great way to learn complete surrender to God and just to depend on God alone. He also went with Swami Vivekananda to Almora, and Swami Vivekananda encouraged Shivanandaji to start a center there, which he eventually did. But while they were there together in Almora, Swamiji, interestingly, he taught Shivanandaji how to read other people's minds because he felt that that would be important. I think Swamiji probably saw that he would become a guru in the future and the future president of the Ramakrishna Mission. So he gave him that siddhi. And Shivanandaji just implicitly obeyed whatever Swamiji told him. And so Swamiji asked him to teach Vedanta in Sri Lanka. And so he stayed there for 7 to 8 months as well. There's a very interesting little incident, which I bet many of you have not even heard of, involving a hubble bubble. He's with Swami Vivekananda in Belumat, and they would most of them smoked. And so Swamiji made a rule that in Belumat, if anyone who smoked a hubble bubble, they should take that hubble bubble and put it back in the place where they found it, and not just leave it here or there. Small little rule. One day, a hubble bubble was found on the front veranda of the monastery. Swamiji became furious when he saw it. When he inquired who had left it there, someone told him that it was Swami Shivananda. Immediately, Swamiji called him in a loud voice, "Tarakta!" Hearing Swamiji's thundering voice, everyone got scared, even Swami Shivananda. No sooner had the Swami arrived than Swamiji threw the hubble bubble on the floor and broke it into pieces. Hubble bubble means hookah, I guess. Then he said to Swami Shivananda, "Now you collect money, buy a new hubble bubble, and keep it in its proper place." 1902 to 1909, Shivanandaji lived in Varanasi, where he established the center there, and he's the one who called it Sri Ramakrishna Advaita Ashrama. And then in 1909, he came back to Belumat, and he took over the management of the monastery there. Well, Premanandaji was doing the managing, actually. And he talked about the way that ritualistic worship, puja, was conducted in Belumat. He said, "Our worship in the shrine was more an act of love and devotion, having none of the external grandeur of ritualistic observances as is prevalent now. While doing the worship, we would think of the master as visibly present, just as we had seen him at Dakshineshwar in his room, seated on his cot. We would worship him following the simplest procedure. Although we observed some of the orthodox rules and forms, we never stressed them. Sri Ramakrishna is the Lord of our hearts, and what he wants from us is genuine devotion and self-dedication." He did more wandering. He went to Amarnath and many other places. There's a beautiful incident that happened in Dhaka in Bangladesh. He's in Dhaka, and a devotee approaches him and says, "We are poor. Will you be kind enough to visit our home in spite of that?" And then Shivanandaji said, You're right. We don't go to the house of a poor person. The devotee left, obviously kind of dejected. The next day, Shivanandaji and his attendant walked 2 miles to that devotee's home. Overwhelmed with joy, the person said, "What great fortune, Maharaj, welcome to our poor home." And then Shivanandaji said with a smile, "We don't go to the house of a poor person. We visit the devotee's house. That is God's dwelling place. And that is the house of the richest person." Brahmanandaji passed away, left his body in 1922, and then it was Shivanandaji who took over as the president of the Ramakrishna Mission after that. And there are a lot of wonderful incidents. He was a great president, and many great things happened under his leadership. I'll just mention a few things. Many of his teachings were about how it's very important for all spiritual aspirants, but especially monks of the order, to balance work with meditation, not to exclusively emphasize either one or the other. He said, "It is true that work brings attachment, but this order of the Master, Holy Mother, and Swamiji is different. This order does not stand exclusively for spiritual practices, the practice of renunciation and austerity only. This order has a mission that will reestablish the religion of the age. Here, one must perform action along with contemplation. Those who will work at our direction will never get attached. The Master himself will be responsible for them." He gave a stirring speech in a major convention that was held, the first convention held in Belur on 1st April 1926. And I'll just read a little bit of it. He says, "I only pray that your surrender may be complete. Be like the arrow that darts from the bow. Be like the hammer that falls on the anvil. Be like the sword that pierces its object. The arrow does not murmur if it misses the target. The hammer does not fret if it falls on a wrong place. And the sword does not lament if it is broken in the hands of its wielder. Yet there is a joy in being made, used, and broken, and an equal joy in being finally set aside. I invoke the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna on you all so that he may give you strength and courage to realize truth in this very life." He had countless spiritual realizations, one of which I'll mention. Happened in June of 1926. He visits Uti in South India. And he said, "The other day as I sat here silently watching the blue mountain ranges, I experienced something. I saw a luminous figure coming out of this body, and it grew and grew till at last it enveloped the whole world. The Master is my Paramatman, the Supreme Self. It is he who pervades the whole universe." And then he quotes from Purusha Sukta. "A quarter of his is this whole universe. His other 3 immortal quarters are in the bright region." He had many other visions in Varanasi as well. As a president, he was extremely, even though he was strict in many ways, he was extremely generous and forgiving. And I'll mention one incident about that. A senior monk came to Shivanandaji. And there was another monk who did some bad things. And so the senior monk suggested to Shivanandaji that he be kicked out. Shivanandaji listened very carefully to the accusations and then asked this monk, "Does he not have 1 or 2 good qualities?" And then the senior monk said, "Yeah, of course, he has a couple good qualities." And he mentioned some of them. And then Shivanandaji's face radiated with joy. And he said, "That's enough." And the monk stayed in the order. And he said on another occasion, along the same lines, "You cannot reform people by simply talking and reprimanding. If you have the spiritual power, redirect and change the inner tendencies of people. Talk to the Lord and pray to him so that he may do the work of reforming. If he is gracious, then in a trice, bad tendencies will undergo wholesale transformation." Some of you might know that there's only a single videotape of 2 of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, monastic disciples, Shivanandaji walking with Subodhanandaji. That was taken by Paramanandaji. Paramanandaji came in 1928, who was the head of our center in Massachusetts at the time. And he said, "Maharaj," he came to visit him in Belur Math, and said, "Maharaj, I'm making a movie of Belur Math, and our American devotees want to see the Swamis also. If it's not inconvenient for you, please come downstairs. And then, so the video is of Shivanandaji walking downstairs. And it's the only video of the direct disciples. So it's a really wonderful.
Film.
Sorry?
It's actually film.
Film. What did I say?
Video.
Oh.
Video is a digital format.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Thank you. Okay. Filmed, not videoed. Another incident. Swami Kamaleshwaranandaji, kind of a studious Swami, he told Shivanandaji, I want to study the Upanishads with you. And Shivanandaji said, can you study our lives? Our lives are verily Upanishads. Here you will find the quintessence of the scriptures. There's another beautiful incident I want to share with you, again showing his forgiveness and his large heart. One morning, Shivanandaji, after lying down for a while, he was very indrawn, and he suddenly said to his attendant, will you go and see if there's someone who wants initiation? He just knew that there's somebody outside. The attendant looked here and there, and then he finally found a woman who wanted initiation. And this attendant asked her about her background, and she was very frank and told him all about her sinful past. And then she said in a remorseful tone, may I not see him once? And the attendant was not very pleased, and he went back to Shivanandaji and he said, Maharaj, it's a lady who wants initiation, but, and his voice trails off, and then Mahapurush Maharaj understood everything, and he said, what of that? Ask her to bathe in the Ganges and come to me after visiting the shrine. Sri Ramakrishna is the redeemer of the fallen, Potito Pavan. He came especially to uplift them. What will happen to them if he does not come to their rescue? One could not then call him the savior of the fallen. And then she came for her initiation, and he looked at her and said, what is there to fear, my daughter? You will certainly be blessed since you have taken refuge in Sri Ramakrishna, our master and savior. Say this, whatever sins I've committed in this life and in lives past, I offer them here, meaning at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, and I will sin no more. And she became transformed after that initiation. Sri Ramakrishna, many of us know that Sri Ramakrishna named 6 of his future monastic disciples as Ishvara Kotis, divinely commissioned souls. And Mahapurush Maharaj was not one of them. So in that context, he was looking at a group picture of him with many of the other disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And he said, who is this rogue here, looking at himself in the picture? And then he said, this one, pointing to his own picture, he said, this one became a saint, having been with saints. He was always so humble. And then he said, referring to the 6 in the picture who were deemed Ishvara Kotis by Sri Ramakrishna, he said, Swamiji, Maharaj meaning Brahmanandaji, and a few others belong to that category. I was not so high, but now I also have become an Ishvara Koti through the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. And it was tremendous how much he grew spiritually in that time. And he said once, look, such a great amount of power has accumulated within me that if I tell that tree, and he pointed to a mango tree outside, be liberated, it will be liberated. I can make people free just by looking in a particular direction. Saying so, he again bent his head and became absorbed in meditation. One day, pointing at a picture of Sri Ramakrishna, the main picture, he said, don't think of this picture of the Master as an ordinary picture. He himself dwells in it and listens to the prayers of the devotees. Under Shivanandaji's leadership, when he was president, some of the greatest swamis who came to the West were posted. I'll just mention a few. Swami Prabhuvanandaji, here in 1923. Dayananda and Akhilananda in 1926. Madhavananda and Gyaneshwarananda in 1927. And these are all posted to foreign centers. Vividishananda in 1928, Devatmananda in 1930, Ashokananda and Nikhilananda in 1931, Vijayananda in 1932, Yatishwarananda in 1933. His final words were, in 1933, he said, whatever is true will happen. Truth alone triumphs in the end. Truth alone persists. That which is false does not last. Therefore, one should not regret it. And in his last days, a pandit, a well-known pandit named Pramotanath Tarkobhushan, he was so impressed with Shivanandaji, he said the following. He said, I have read in books about Jivan Muktas, or illumined souls. Today I have seen one face to face in the flesh. The Swami seemed to be in deep samadhi all the time, once in a while coming down to the normal plane. I am indeed very much blessed in meeting the supreme yogi. I have studied about samadhi in the scriptures, thought about it and discussed it a great deal, but never before have I had the good fortune to see a man established in samadhi. On 20th February 1934, he left his body in Mahasamadhi. And when people would ask him in his close to his final days, where's he going to go after he leaves the body? He would always say, Ramakrishna Loka, to be with Sri Ramakrishna. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.